I can hear you, Leah, just fine. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you thumbs up me? Let me know I'm in the house.
You're in the house. I can hear you.
Well, that's good. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to Happy Hour, everybody. This is Leah and Ryan from the Pioneer Invitational. We are going to get to Bill in a minute. I think Ryan just wanted to give the birds a little treat, right, Ryan?
Yeah, we are still down 8 birds from today's toss. That's okay. They parked themselves down. They should roll their way back in later at this time now or tomorrow. Or hey, maybe these are the ones that just don't do it. What can we say? They all have the
Tough
same
day.
opportunities.
Yeah, tough day today. Tough weather.
Super hot, super humidity. Again, uh, it gives a little inside check there. You got to check the insides of them. And the
Absolutely.
ones with the extra jam, they show up. Luck, maybe
So
it's luck. I don't know. But hey, we're with Bill today, are we not, Leah?
we are with Bill. We're going to get to Bill in one sec. You're going to give the kids a little evening treat.
Yeah.
Frank Eichhorn is in the house. Hello, Frank. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody has their questions ready for our friend, Bill Weima. Ryan is just going to give the kids a little evening treat.
They're
Just
having
checking
their
the
gin and
clock.
juice.
Checking the clock here. We have 64 clocked at the moment out of 72. Still waiting for a few to come home.
Yeah,
What do
they
you?
gotta they gotta jam it in if they're gonna do it. If not, they're gonna be sitting out tonight. But that's okay. Good pigeons sit out from time to time.
Ryan, what do you got in there? Some all-in-one? What did you give them?
We got all-in-one crushed up peanuts and some hemp seed. Again, the kids that want to go and eat can eat, and you will see the camera on them. Microwave's running good, which I like to hear that in the background.
Yeah, just got to shut my oven off so I don't burn anything.
Wow, we're really doing it live here, guys. There's no bullshit here. This is all live and what you see. You'll see the birds eating the all-in-one. We don't have the water cam up, so you can see it though in the camera. They can go up there. They're on their between 7.5 and 9.5 liters of water now today. They've done 7 full liters. So we're just allowing them to go out there and pick around, clean up. Any birds that come late, again, will have all the feed they can eat. These will be pulled aside, and the other ones that come late will eat. And that's that, really, Leah.
Perfect. So I think we should bring our guest on for the evening. Happy hour chit chat with Bill Weima. Bill, I'm just going to connect you here. Get all the screens going. Bill, can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh,
Perfect. You can hear us and you're good, right, Bill?
I can hear you fine. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Welcome to the show, Bill. Ryan, go ahead.
wow, Bill. Thank you. You're the second guy up. Again, I want to start off by thanking you for taking the time to come on the show. I want to thank you for putting birds in this year's Pioneer Invitational race. And I want to hear from you. How's it going this year? Since the like the COVID comes in and it's kind of screwed up everyone's work schedules. How is everything going with you and your pigeons, Bill? And the people that don't know Bill, he flies multiple combines, different directions. He's a quite hard-nosed pigeon flyer. And tell the people also a little bit about yourself, Bill, for people who don't know you.
Well, the interesting thing about the COVID with me and my work schedule, it kind of actually worked out nicely. If you want to try to look at the cup as being full, um, we typically in our work season, our busy time is summer and fall, and all of our schedule or deliveries are basically September till December. Then we usually lay off in the wintertime and come back on around April. And for some reason this year we decided not to lay off in the winter. We kept working through the winter. We kept building up inventory. And then when this COVID virus hit, we had lots of inventory already made, laid the guys off. One of my guys is another pigeon guy. And so we've all been enjoying lots of free time to work with the birds. So, yeah. So yeah, like I say, I fly 2 combines right now in Old Birds, the Up North Combine and the North Road Racing Pigeon Association, basically same direction, many of the same stations. Up North Combine Most of the members are a little further north than the North Road members are, so their race stations go a little bit further. We had our second last race of the schedule today from Latchford, which is, to me, it's a 250-mile race in the North Road, and North Bay is about a 200-mile race in the Up North Combine.
And with
Sorry?
with today's weather, how did you guys find? I mean, I didn't look at what time you guys released or nothing, but what were the release times and how were the speeds? Was it a tough day, easy day?
Yeah, it was a tough day. We released at 6 o'clock from Latchford. Up North Combine went at 6:15 from North Bay. It turned out quite hot today, as I'm sure you're feeling it over there too. Really unusual headwind, shoulder winds. A lot of southwest winds, which is not normal in these combines. So usually we have the north and northwest winds. So yeah, it's taking its toll. It was a tough day. The birds are they're not coming in bunches, and they're kind of straggling in all day long. And I've heard several guys that hadn't seen a pigeon for many hours yet. I don't know if they have any now, but yeah, I'm still waiting for 5. I had a total of 31 birds out there today, and I got 26 home as of 6 o'clock when I looked. So
not bad for you. So I mean, and again, I would kind of say you're a middle-aged guy. You've only been in the pigeons. Well, I mean, no. How long have you been in pigeons? Because I know you're sort of
10 years.
10 years. So you're you're a junior.
Yep.
Right. So you're in it for about 10 years. What do you think of the sport?
Well, I love pigeon racing, and it's very disappointing in this country on a lot of levels. But well, you've been to Europe yourself. You've seen it over there. I've been over there. It's a whole different world over there. And
yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off, but don't you almost agree with me when I say this country or North America? We can sort of say North America or Canada, United States. Yeah. We're almost a third world country in pigeon flying.
Yeah, you could put it that way. I mean, everybody's so spread apart here and arguing about so many minor things. I mean, what do we got in the whole? The whole combine has less than 100 members in it, maybe 60, 70 guys flying young birds at any given time. You go to Belgium, for example, and there's 5 clubs within a 30-minute radius that all have that many members per club.
Yeah.
And yeah, not everybody gets along, but everybody flies pigeons. So that's life.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It just feels like here, it's less about pigeons and more about the nitter natter. Am I right on that? More nitter natter about nothing.
Yeah, to some degree, you're right, Ryan. There's always politics involved. There's personality conflicts involved, and that's the unfortunate part of the sport. I wish we could just knock down all the borders and just fly pigeons. That would be
yeah. That's right. And the interesting thing is you've had pigeons for 10 years. I mean, I've grown up in pigeons. My dad, my sister, we've all had pigeons in our blood from birth, literally. And it's nice to see somebody like you, middle-aged, you're into the pigeons. You love the pigeons. You like to buy good pigeons. You like to test your pigeons. You fly one-off races. And you really... It's a big sport for you. I know you're one of the most passionate guys about racing pigeons, and that's a fantastic thing to see. And I'm sure there's more and more people out there like you. They just don't know how to get into it. And I just find where we're at, it's so it's hard to get people in. And I'm really glad that you're in it. I mean, I wish we had 50 guys like you.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's a hard. It used to be. I've heard people say it's a poor man's racehorse. It's not a poor man's sport anymore. It's expensive to get into this game now, and I mean, look at this young lady Charlotte that started up, and she's got great support by her mom and dad, and flyers are helping her out. but you don't see that very much, and it's a prohibitive cost. I mean, buying a clock alone's $1,000, building a loft, buying feed, fuel to go up and down the road, training. It's not cheap.
No,
we certainly
it's
don't.
not a poor man's sport.
We certainly don't do it to make money.
No,
Question for you, Bill. For people just starting out in the sport, what would be 3 words of advice that you would give new people starting out?
I would say number 1 is to stay small, so that you can build a relationship with the pigeons and really observe the things that you need to learn. Number 2, I would say don't listen to too many people. Find somebody that's close to you that is willing to mentor you, and stick with what they say, and not jump all over the map, because there's, like Ryan said it many times, there's many different ways to bake a cake. What works for me doesn't work for you, doesn't work for the next guy. You can't, a new person, a juvenile in the sport can't jump in and take bits and pieces from everybody and make his own cake. You got to learn something as a basic first, and get some good birds. Again, local flyer, fly the course that you're flying. Go to the 1 or 2 good flyers that are flying in the combine or the club that you're going to fly in, and get a few birds from them. And they work in that area, in that climate, on those conditions. And I would say those are 3 good starting points.
Yeah, and I think what Bill says is, when he says don't get too many birds, start off with what you can handle. Maybe you need 5 or 6 pair of breeders and breed 30, 40 youngsters, and be able to control that. Don't start getting 10 pair from Jerry, 15 pair from Ron, 25 from Carl, breed them all together and have 200 babies. No, start small, simple. You want to know how they're feeling. You want to know if the pigeons have a headache. I know Bill knows when he goes into his loft how his birds are feeling. Right, Bill?
Right. You can notice things right away, and and I would even go one step further, and I've said this even to a few guys that have had pigeons for several years, that live in a residential subdivision in town. They got a little tiny backyard. Why do you even have breeders? Why don't you just get call me. I'll give you 20 young birds or 40 young birds and race them, right? You're keeping pigeons all winter long in a tight little backyard, and it's hard. So for a new person starting out, maybe that's a good approach too. Is just fly young birds. Get a group of young birds, fly them for the year. At the end of the year, you can give them back to the breeder, and next year start over again.
Yeah, very good idea. See, again, lots of ways to bake a cake, and what's great about Bill is Bill will help out people. I know last year in the Pioneer Club we had issues with our clocking systems, and he was there to help us out. He's always there to help people, which is great. Leah, did you have any other questions that had come in?
Just some comments here. Everybody's giving a shout out to Bill and welcoming him onto the show, which is nice.
Don't forget about
also, what do we have here? Dave Ottaway says it's a $5,000 a year hobby, and I mean it absolutely is not cheap, right?
No, I think Dave's being very, very, very generous there at $5,000. I mean, and you know what? It all depends on birds you want to buy. But again, maybe around $5,000. You want to trade birds amongst people, and guys will do that. I think that's a good point. But and Bill, you know as well as I do, these are racehorses.
Yep, they are. So, and you've heard this many times, and it's very true. Some of the best pigeons you're ever going to get are gifts.
Yes, I agree with Bill 150%. Sometimes the best ones are gifts. You can spend the very most amount of money and have nothing. You can buy a bird at an auction for $25, and oh my God, now it's your foundation breeder. Or hey, Bill gave me a bird, and it's super. Sometimes it happens that way.
Yep.
I wonder if that's the same way like that in horse racing. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Leah.
I just wanted to know, you've seen us doing our training with the Pioneer birds the past few weeks. How's your young bird training going, Bill?
Well, it's going pretty good. Again, because of the COVID, I've had lots of time, and I started early with them and took my time. And I've got 3 groups. I've got one group that one loft that's dedicated to the North Road trailer, and I have a different loft that I call the Rainbow Team. I had 6 different flyers give me birds that they wanted me to test for them. So that's kind of a little bit like what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
And they're going to fly I'm going to fly that team in the Up North Combine.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, because of COVID and because of our border problems with getting birds across, and because of the one loft race situations that we've had, I got stuck with a bunch of babies here that I had planned to send out. So I've got a 3rd team of late breds that just had their 2nd toss this morning. So.
Well, that's good. And I think overall, you prefer young bird racing, correct, Bill?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Now I notice in Europe they love old bird racing. There's a lot of old bird fans.
Sure.
They're all hyped up and jacked up yearlings, long distance, super long distance, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Why do you think here? It's like, why do you like young birds? What has attracted you to young birds?
I don't know if I can pinpoint that. It's just, yeah, I don't know. The old birds are different. They're more personality to the old birds, I think. But I think maybe just because the young birds it's a bigger competition. The old bird sport here is small. The numbers are smaller.
Right.
Old birds just seems more exciting. There's more excitement around it. There's a few money races at the end of the year. We don't have anything like that really in old birds, other than a couple of these long distance races, and the numbers in them are so small.
Okay, so overall, you're 10 years into this. You love young birds because there's more excitement. If we could attract more old bird racing or a few fun old bird events, would it help you come into old birds more?
Yeah, I would think. I enjoy flying them both. It just seems. I think there's more pressure on doing well in young birds than in old birds, or maybe I put more pressure on myself to do well in young birds than old birds. I don't know. But.
Okay.
A couple questions here from our audience. Now, Bill, you help run one of the combines, the North Roads, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have a question from Dave, and he asks, Bill, do you like running the combine or assisting and helping to run the combine? And what are some of the challenges that you find in assisting or running a combine?
Well, the first challenge, the first challenge I'm going to say is that lots of people like to complain, but nobody likes to step up and help.
Yes, agreed.
So yeah, it was. I'm the president of the North Road Racing Pigeon Association this year. The past president's had some health issues, and he's needed to take a break from it. I'm it basically because no one else wanted to do it. So, there's a bunch of things that I think need to be improved and changed, and we'll work towards that. But at the end of the day, we gotta keep the sport going. We got to keep members happy, and that's never easy because it's hard to keep everybody happy.
Absolutely.
It's a tough road to hold.
It is, definitely. Another question from Mike Vandriak. He is asking, there seems to be a feeling that the combines and the one loft races are in competition. He thinks they could help each other a lot. As president of the NRRPA, what are your thoughts, Bill?
I agree. I think the one loft races provide an avenue for people that can't necessarily keep pigeons. I've had people that just want to enter a couple birds in a one loft race and follow along. They don't breed, they don't have pigeons. They ask for a couple young birds. That's maybe a stepping stone to getting people into the sport. There's other people that have been in the sport a long time that maybe are getting older, retiring, or they've moved somewhere where there's no club or they can't fly. Their only resource anymore is one loft races or multi loft races within a combine. So I think there's a place for both of them. Um, yeah, what Ryan's doing is trying to bridge that gap, I guess.
Right.
We're trying to fly them in the combine and in the club, and at one off race result. I think it's pretty interesting.
And the sport is so small here as it is. I mean, why not let's all work together? We all have one common goal, and that is to promote the sport, build the sport, grow the sport. I don't see a reason why combines, one lofts, we can't all work together. At the end of the day, the end goal is the same, is to promote the sport and get the sport bigger, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. And the other thing is if you can amalgamate one lofts and combines together, you keep the one loft guy more on his toes, more out there to do what he has to do to get those birds to perform. I look at the other one loft races around compared to this one, and look at all the other three in the province of Ontario. Look how far ahead these birds are, because our deadline is August the 1st. It keeps you on a deadline.
My typical criticism of most one loft races has been that the whole business plan is flawed. It's all about flying for big money, which I think is a real problem, because they need activation money to guarantee the prizes. The only way to bring in the activation money is to have a lot of pigeons there for the activation race. So they train very lightly, very carefully, only on beautiful, perfect days to try to minimize their losses so that they get the activation money. And then the next couple of races, the birds hit some adversity and they're gone. So I think that whole business plan is flawed. Whereas what Ryan just said, if you want to fly them in a combine and you want to compete, you can't take that approach. You've got to go hard, just like everybody else does.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here now, Bill, with these birds. I know you've played a little bit of running a one loft race. You know how the cake's baked. You know the pressure. You know how people are always on you, and I just feel exactly what Bill summed it up perfectly. It's a flawed. It's all about big prize money, and it's all it ever seems about is perch fee, big prize money, and I think everything in the middle is gone.
At the end of the day, whether you train lightly at the beginning or train hard at the beginning, at the end you're going to have the same pigeons left. The good pigeons are going to be there, right? The difference is by training light like they're doing, they're bringing in the money, and then people are getting upset because they're losing their pigeons. And right. I'd rather see my birds trained hard. I'd rather see what you're doing with them now. I mean, I'm down one bird today. Maybe he'll come, maybe he won't. That's fine, because you're going to push them. You're going to go.
And again, I say to people, and people try and say to me, "Oh, send my bird again tomorrow." Bill's bird comes back, or somebody's bird comes back, and they need a day off. They need 2 days off. I'd rather give you the 2 days off. Build them back to confidence. Get up their weight, and away we go again.
Right.
Handle the pigeons. It's like, if I give Bill pigeons, or I give Ian, or I give Rick Fife, or I give Dave Ottaway, or I give Marion, I give somebody pigeons. I don't tell them how to fly them. You fly them to get them through the season. Whatever you got to do. You're the cake baker. Bake the damn cake.
Yeah.
Don't worry about perch fees.
No, it's a hard gig. Like, you've seen it. You took in 140 birds.
Yeah.
You had about 40 of them that didn't make it.
Yep.
I saw the same thing in the group that I took. They call the Rainbow Team. I took in, I had about 105 pigeons in that loft. Right now I have 45 birds left.
See? Isn't that funny, isn't it? And now your other groups, how are they?
my other team, I started with 56. I have 52 left. 2 of them I lost, and 2 of them I had to put down from hitting wires. They were too badly injured to recover. So,
Violet.
Another question. I'm just going to post it up here from Neil. Neil asks, flying in 2 combines and the East course in the past, what are the differences, if any, and why can't these combines come together for more joint releases?
Wow, that's a great question. There's always been a few people that have argued that East Coast pigeons are the toughest pigeons, and they are tough. And the one thing for me, because of location, when I flew in the East Course combine, I'm basically a third of the way into the combine and more or less right down the center. So location-wise, there's half a dozen good flyers that are all lined up in a row here, and you have headwinds almost every day. I feel bad for them today. They're flying about a 375-mile race to my loft here. In this kind of headwind and heat, it's brutal.
It's almost like 600 miles.
It's tough, right? They don't fly past 400 miles in old birds on the East Course, and this is why you get days like this, and you're not getting pigeons. But it's a different kind of thing. You train in that headwind every day, and the birds just have to put their head down and fly. Flying the North Course, the winds change a lot. You can get swirling winds, side winds. I've seen pigeons come home from the North Course race tireder than an East Course pigeon would have been, but it's a different kind of tired. I think they're fighting for their balance constantly and adjusting,
Yes.
as opposed to just putting their head down and bearing into the wind. So it's a different kind of conditioning. Feeding on the North Course is I find it a little bit more of an art, because you kind of look ahead a lot and say, what kind of weather are we going to have? What's the week going to be like? What are the winds looking like? Do I need to give them a little more fuel? Do I want to have them really light? Is it going to be a 20-mile-an-hour tailwind? If it is, I got to basically starve them for a day. There's a lot of different things. Whereas on the East Course, you don't generally have that. It's just the same every day.
Yeah.
So that's half of the question. As far as getting together, doing more together, the geography is a problem because of the lakes, Georgian Bay and Lake Huron, and you're never going to get guys really much west of Cambridge that are ever going to fly and race from the north, because the birds just have to cross water, and they've never really had to cross water flying from the east. So you would have to change your course to more of a northeast. It was interesting. Oshawa Club this year proposed an old bird open from a place called Rupert River, which it was a long one. It would have been 570 miles to me. They ended up not flying the station that day because of the weather. But that's a station where there's really no water in the way for anybody in southwestern Ontario. So those are some of the challenges. You have to change courses a little bit. You have to make adjustments, and that's always going to hit some resistance, because there's guys that are year in and year out in the top of their fed results, and largely because they're good flyers, but also because of where they live in relation to the course they fly. Where I live out here, I'm not in a good location. I got everything stacked against me, but that's okay. It's a challenge. I enjoy it.
Excellent. Next question from Mike Vandriak. He is asking, how full was the NRRPA trailer for Hearst? I don't know if you know that answer.
There were 133 birds on the trailer for Hearst. The same day the Up North Combine flew Klotz Lake, and there was I believe, 155 birds on that trailer. So basically,
Wow.
we had less than 300 birds going to virtually the same station.
Wow. That hurts me.
Right.
And
So
just a comment here from Mark Bombach. He says he agrees 100%, Bill, completely. It's 100% different than the East and harder, I think. So he agrees with you.
Yeah. Again, what Bill's saying is, with these winds that are north, we get northwest, we get northeast, we get southwest, southeast. The birds are always like working like this. And I think if you're working this way straight, if you can see my hand, you put your nose down and you work. But you're constantly, when you're going this way, you're constantly fighting and balancing and balancing. It's almost like you're getting pushed over. And I agree with you, Bill, 100%. This course here, and to feed on it, you got to be the mind reader, the predictor. How is it going to be tomorrow? How is this? How's the fog going to be? How is this? Tailwinds, are we going to get this type of wind? Do I back them off the feed? Wait, do I back them off? Is it going to be a smash? This way, that way. I agree with you totally. I know I flew the East one time with you guys, Bill. I found it, even training the pigeons on East, we trained them like 20 miles. We had a road that was dead, straight line. And literally, no matter, they stayed the course when it was a totally different flying. I did find it different. But maybe, I don't know. I haven't flown it long enough, but I do agree with you. I think there's a difference here on this North course.
yeah, it's very much. I think of something kind of interesting back to the days when I was training myself. I could drop and do 100 push-ups. I wish I could do it now, but I can't. But a friend of mine was in a bit of a different kind of stuff. He had a vibration table, basically a 4-foot square platform that vibrates. He could control the frequency and the amplitude of the vibration and stuff. So he said, drop down on there and do your push-ups. I had a heck of a time doing 40 of them.
Right.
Because it's now making all the little stabilizing muscles that you use to keep your balance
Start to work.
are all now brought into play. Whereas when you're just doing a straight push-up, right, you're isolating certain muscles. And I think it's very similar in the difference between flying east and flying north.
Yeah, and I'll agree. I know I was in Marseille, France, and in different countries playing soccer, and they would always make you train in between 11 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The junior teams, we always train in the hottest time of the day, make you work, because you know what? They said, hell with you. You got to push, you got to work. And it was no easy going. And
No.
I think a lot of pigeon guys they're getting so soft. The pedigree tells you, oh, it's great. Listen to what the pedigree's telling you. You're buying them for these pedigrees. They weren't candy-ass pigeons. They were worked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I know, hey, if I get a bird off of Bill Weima that flew all the old bird, it flew everything. Bill worked it. He trained it 60, 70, 80 miles, day in, day out, or whatever he did. It's a well-worked pigeon, and that's what I like.
Right.
And I know you work your birds. You like to work them. I think you work pigeons. And here's a question. How hard, for guys with young birds, how hard do you work your young birds? And I mean loft flying and training before the season and during the season.
Well, typically once I start road training, I don't loft fly anymore very much at all. Very rarely. I basically have the mentality that when they're in the basket, they're going down the road. They come home, they're in the loft. They don't get out to play anymore. So once I'm training, like I'm at a point now, I'm 50 miles every day.
Every day.
So
and the same point.
Right now, I'm going to the same point, and I'll start changing that in the next week. But 50 miles. I mean, I think they had 10 or 12 tosses in a row from a 30-mile spot. Then I took them to 50 miles 4 or 5 times. And actually, this morning and yesterday morning, they were 75 miles twice.
Wow. So you're really pushing them. Now, another question. You're working these birds. The groups that you train them in, do you train them all together? Do you break them down? Do you break them into 10s, 20s? How do you do it?
I break them down. Basically, like I said, I've got about 45 birds in the rainbow team. I release them in two groups, about 10 minutes apart. I've got 52 birds in my North Road team, and I do the same with them. I have them separated, cocks and hens. So I release the hens first and the cocks second.
And how do you find the groups are coming? Because I mean, we're working these groups here in the Pioneer Land, and we get different results every day. Today we got a super fast group, super medium group, slow group, and then like dog fart slow group.
Right. Yeah. These guys they're doing pretty good. Today they had the headwind to deal with, and I let my North Road birds first, and I actually let them go pretty quickly together today because they cleared quick. So they were about every 3 minutes I was turning them loose. I let the first basket go at 6:20 in the morning, and by 6:30 I was back in my truck heading home. When I got home, my North Road team were all in the loft, and about 2 minutes after I pulled in the driveway, the first group of the rainbow team pulled in. They were basically all here very quickly. So.
And when you start the rate, I know right now you're training super hard. You're a hard trainer. When you start the first race on any combine, what's your weekly training program for those pigeons? Basically, breakdown.
I would say generally, if the races are normal races, not like a day like today where it's super, super hard, they're going to be in the basket 5 days a week.
Even Friday.
If they race Saturday, Sunday they're going to get to lay around and play. Monday they're back in the basket. They're going to go 30 miles, at least 30 miles every day, 30 to 50.
Okay.
So Friday shipping day, maybe I'll give them a 20. It depends on how the week went, but and also depends on how they feel, how they handle what the day looks like that they're going to come up against.
So you're an avid, because I know in Europe they do a lot of loft flying, and you've been there, and it almost seems like it's all loft flying.
Yeah.
Are they lying?
I think part of the reason they do that is that like Belgium, for example. I mean, it's so congested. There's so many little towns and villages and cities, and it's bad. I mean, for us to drive 50 miles for a training toss is bad enough. For them to do it there, it's horrible.
Right. Well, it's like exactly what I'm saying. It's all this. It's all congestion now.
Right.
But it's just so funny over there. They do it, but is it because they all do it?
Yeah, most of them. I think that's the way it is. Most of them do it that way. It's the way they've always done it. And I know a few of the guys have done things a little different. They've come over here and they went back and did some training in young birds, more North American style, and it's made a difference. So
now I spoke with Rick Martis. I met him this year at Fugar, and he owns a continental breeding station. Him and his son Steve. And, we're sitting there having a couple beers and we're talking. And he said, I've been here. And he says, I have tried the American way, which was ground and pound. Exactly what you do, Bill. Exactly what a lot of us do. Ground and pound, ground and pound, ground and pound. And he says, I just can't seem to find the consistency that these Belgians find. And I can't figure out. I mean, it wasn't measuring dick size. It was just, he was just opening up and being honest, right? And I found it really interesting because, and especially with an American guy, they're normally like, yeah, I did it, I came, I conquered, I won. But he was like, You know what? Holy shit. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought I'd go 80 miles a day. Forget how zigzag that damn road was. I will do it, and they will win. And he said it wasn't what I thought it was. So...
You know
I
what,
don't know.
Ryan? Maybe they're just way better pigeon men than any of us over here are, and you know they
Oh,
can get the juice out of the pigeons. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know the
I,
answer.
I don't know. Maybe we really are a third world country. Leah,
Another,
did you have?
another, I
Yeah.
do. I have another question here. The questions are rolling in.
Oh
From
shit! Go ahead.
Mike Vandriak is asking, do you feel the need to specialize with short and long distance families of birds, or can the same family handle all distances?
Uh, I don't think you can take sprint pigeons and fly them to Klotz Lake.
No, I
Uh,
agree.
um, yeah, and I don't think in this country really the majority of the races we fly, especially in young birds, are sprint races.
Hmm.
And you see a lot of the sprint families of pigeons, the Leo Hermans, the Vandebooks, the Kittle stuff. Um, you see a lot of those birds are successful in those longer races. But the guys that fly them will tell you we can't fly these birds to 350, 375 miles. You know, they're good for a cross, but straight they won't do it. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's not enough races here. In Europe, I mean, in Belgium, you can fly, heck, 25, 30 weeks of the year, whatever you want. You can fly sprint every week. You can fly, you
Yep.
know, so many different things. Here we basically have 10 weeks of old birds and then a week or two in the middle and then 10 weeks of young birds. So I don't know if you could specialize in a certain type of race and really have some success. Um, I don't do it myself, and I don't really even perpetuate a particular family of pigeon. I look for good birds from multiple families and enjoy trying them.
Next
I agree.
question. Oh, sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I
Go
agree.
ahead, Ryan.
I agree with what Bill says. Over there, it's just if you want to fly a league of long distance, middle distance, short distance, you can fly it.
Right.
So it's totally different than here. Here, you have to have a horse for every course or a horse for every distance, and you got to mix this with that with this, and
Yep.
abracadabra, and poof, there's your winner. You got a long distance mixed with a sprint pigeon. You got a pigeon that doesn't come home good, crossed with a super pigeon. Boom, Bob's your uncle. Go ahead,
You
Leah.
know.
Okay, I've got a question here from Mo.
Sorry, Bill.
Mo is asking, do you train the old birds the same as the young birds, and how often do you basket them before the race?
This year I did not, but normally, yes, I would train my old birds as much.
Wow, you train them that hard?
Yeah.
Oh, he likes to train.
Yeah.
Next question from Troy Spencer. He's asking, Bill, what's the hardest challenge in the sport today, in your opinion?
Wow, there's a lot of
Breaking down barriers. That's the hardest challenge, I believe.
Yes, good job, Bill. I agree with you on that one, 150%. Let's stop thinking out. Let's get out of that box. Leah?
Agreed. Nick Fan says, hi, Bill. Anybody else have any questions? Put them in the comments below. Ryan, go ahead.
I got a quick comment about sprint flyers. When I was in Belgium in 2017, Yelly took me to visit a trio of older gentlemen. I believe they were 81, 82, and 87 years old, and they were sprint specialists. I handled their birds, and they were all like peas in a pod. And they showed me their race records, and I don't think they flew a race over 240 kilometers.
So that would be in miles.
That would
What, about
be
150?
100, yeah, maybe 130. You know, it's
Well, Bill, it's funny what you say because we went to the Lear Market and you go there and you look at birds and there's guys there and there's guys pedaling and pawning. Guys will show you results, and it was amazing some of the distances, and all the guy would fly would be like 65, 75 miles.
Yeah.
That was all he flew. And you're like
Yeah.
looking at this going, and he's jacked up like he's on Mountain Dew, like I just won Barcelona sprint racing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a training toss.
Yeah, but you know what? It's amazing to see that. It's like, you get that jacked up on that racing, and then there's guys that you go to and they're jacked up on the Barcelonas.
Right. I mean, every discipline has its challenges, and in sprint racing, I mean, yeah, you need a pigeon that's going to orient instantly. It's out of that basket like a bullet heading straight home, and it hits the landing board, lands on the pad and traps. Like that's, they're different animals. So.
Yeah. But I do agree here on the up north combine or the north course, you sort of need that mixed bag of pigeon. If you think you're going to do it with just sprint pigeons or easy going birds, it doesn't work. You need that little bit of grit, that little bit of sandpaper in the tank.
Yeah, different horses, different courses. So, but I think pretty much any pigeon can fly 200 miles. I don't care what it is, and I think you see that a lot in one loft races too, where they don't lose a whole lot of pigeons until they get to around the 250, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's 30% of the birds are gone.
Yeah, they really start to shift those gears.
And it might be a health issue or a combination of health and genetics and just poor pigeons.
We talk about it, and I'll be honest. I go through and I handle my dad's birds, okay? And I'm handling them. He's breeding them for a certain type. Okay, I have certain birds. I go, wow. Baby after baby. He's got them out training. And I'm looking at them, and the drool's running down my lips. I said, well, come on in. Handle these birds, right? And I'm going, like, you start to get self-conscious of yourself, right? Because all I'm handling is this room. He's handling that room. And he goes through fresh eyes. It's like bringing you over, fresh eyes. Let's go buy some pigeons, fresh eyes.
Right.
Give him 3, 4, 5 pigeons. Nope, no good. Body weight's fine, not put together right. And then all of a sudden he hits 3, 4, bang, bang, bang. They're right. And it's funny because when you're running these races, and I know, Bill, you've run a one-loft race, and you know the pressure is. People send their birds, little babies. They don't know how they're developed this way, that way. And you have to take it, I'll say it, chicken shit, turn it into chicken soup. And they all aren't going to do it.
No, even from your best pair,
Yep.
You don't get a super from your best pair every egg.
It's rare.
It's hit and miss. So.
Yeah. But people I find that haven't run these things see it, and I know you've seen it firsthand. They don't understand it. They think, well, the pedigrees say this. It's going to be this. But really, it's out of the camera. It's not there. So.
Another, I don't know if this is a question or maybe just opinion for both of you. Mike is asking, would there be enough support for a full sprint program between the NRRPA and the Up North Combine membership?
You want my opinion? Go ahead, Bill. You take it.
I personally don't think so, but I personally believe myself that because of the prevailing winds being mostly west, the guys on the east side of the Up North Combine are going to clean house every week, and that's a deterrent. And I know some people don't agree that say wind doesn't matter. Well, I've flown enough races here where wind has mattered a lot. So I think that's a big deterrent. I don't expect to do anything here, even in young birds, until I get to at least 250 miles. I think the distance equalizes some of those differences. And that's where, you get a pigeon that's maybe got better conditioning than 2/3 of the other birds on the trailer, he's going to pound through that wind and still give you a good score. But hey, I'd be game to try it.
Right.
Okay, next. Sorry, Ryan. Did you want to say? Sorry, Ryan. I keep cutting you off.
No, Leah. I'm running low. Go ahead.
You got lots of questions here, so I just want to make sure we try and get to all of them. Okay, next question from Troy Spencer. Bill, do you like the so-called North American race schedule we fly here? We increase the distance every week, or would you like a series of sprint races instead?
Personally, I don't want sprint races. I'd rather say, we're going to race. Let's talk young birds for now. We're going to race young birds. Start them at 150, go 152, 253, and we're going to race 5 weeks in a row, 300 miles.
There you go.
I would love to see a schedule like that.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Bringing them back to 150, 200. That doesn't interest me. I think the way young birds are nowadays, they're fast maturing. We work them hard. When they're in shape, they're in shape. At the end of the season, we've seen it many times where it's like, man, we could keep going for 3 more weeks. If the weather's conducive, why not, right? But we don't do that. Molting's a problem. Daylight's a problem. The races get longer, but 300 miles, I think we could do it all day long.
Yeah, and I agree with Bill. I think you can go 100, 100, 150, 300, 150, 300, 150, 300, 150, 300. If you want to give them breaks. If you want to give them a break, bring them a week, back them off a week, no problem. Just bang, bang, bang. And you'll get the quality of the pigeons that'll go out.
Right.
Next question from Mo. He says, thanks, Bill. What's the best way to feed the birds, and how many times a day for young birds, old birds, and breeding birds, in your opinion?
That's a long one.
Okay, lots of different questions in there. What's the best way to feed pigeons? Well, racing pigeons and feeding is probably, I think, the most misunderstood aspect of the game. Feeding is maybe the most important thing, and it's directly related to everything else you do. It's related to the type of pigeon you have. It's related to how much you're training, how often you're training, what type of race you just flew, what type of race you're gonna fly. There's so many aspects about it, and that's just you learn that by trial and error. I'm still learning. I've gone back to a system that I used in 2014 that I'm gonna work with this year, and I've tried different things since then, and I had good luck with that system, so I'm trying it again to see if was it just a fluke. I was flying the East Course that year, but I'm trying it, and we'll see. As far as how much I feed or how often I feed my young bird team. I feed them twice a day. My breeders, when they're breeding, I'm in there multiple times a day topping up the water and feed, and I have all individual breeding pens, so it's kind of easy to see who needs feed and who doesn't based on how big their babies are, whether they're just sitting eggs with no babies, whatever. That all varies. But old birds too, I feed them twice a day. I'm fortunate my shop's 5 minutes from home, so I can come back and forth and do what I need to do, kind of on a schedule. So.
I agree. The only thing I can say is if you have breeders and you're not 5 minutes away from home, or you don't have individual pens, get up before you go to work in the morning, give them their feed, give them fresh water. When you come home from work, before you say hi to the wife or the kids, go out there, give them feed, give them water, and keep the feed twice a day minimum to them for the best quality of youngsters. The more times you can feed them in a day and keep it fresh, the better it is.
Yeah. When they're feeding babies, they cannot run out of food or water. That's number one. They gotta have food and water in front of them all the time.
Excellent. Okay, another question from Troy Spencer. Bill, when you breed, do you consider what distance to breed for?
Not so much. I have a little bit of long distance stuff here that I'm playing with, and they're typically a slower maturing pigeon, and for the most part, I don't like how they handle. But it's a 2-3 year project to see how they develop, and if they do make a difference in the distance. I don't know that they will. Most of my birds, though, I would say they're bred for the 3 to 350 mile young bird races.
That's what he likes. That's what he likes to fly. You breed for what you like. If you like that, that's what you like. If you're a 500-mile flyer, you're breeding for 500-mile races. And then right now, especially in these combines, they don't have a hell of a lot of it. It's always designed more for young bird racing. So I agree with Bill.
Getting back to what we said earlier, Ryan. We look at what happened here just 2 weeks ago with Hearst and Klotz Lake. And yeah, I mean, kudos to the guys that won those races. But how disappointing is it to spend a season building a bird up to fly a 500-mile race and beat 150 other pigeons?
There's nothing there for it, and I agree with you. And you know what? Unless you start telling people, hey, we're going to do tough races and do it this way and that way, if you don't tell the people, it's.
I really hope that we can get together with the other combines this winter and talk about let's work together at least on these long races and try to get as many combines on one trailer in one race as possible. And yeah, the winds may make a difference and the distances may make a difference, but really how you do relative to your area, to your combine, is really what matters.
Okay, we're going to check to see if there's any other questions. Ryan, do you have any other questions, or we're going to wrap it up?
No, I think, Bill, it was really good having you on. I think we'll get you on again. I don't even know how long we've been on, but it's been a good show, a lot of good insight. Looked at a lot of different things, which is fantastic. Again, we want to thank you. I want to thank the people that tuned in tonight and fired those questions in. Leah, do you have anything else to say? I think we could probably wrap this up.
Just, you know what, that Bill is a fantastic ambassador of the sport. He's always there to help out anybody. I'm sure if we've missed your question or if you have more questions that you'd like to ask Bill, shoot us a private message. We'll put you in touch with Bill. Bill, you're always happy to help, and we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Anytime.
And Truckster's doing good. Thank you, guys. Remember, a 4-basket Truckster, 2,800. Bill Weima will build it for you. Thank you for building that, Bill. And good luck with the rest of your season. We will get back in touch with you for young birds. I'm sure I got to come up and watch a race one of these days. But again, thank you for coming on and answering the questions.
Okay, guys. Good chat with you.
Ryan, just a question, Ryan. What's the plan here for tomorrow? We're going to not loft fly, and we're going to go to the.
We're going to wake up tomorrow at 6. We're going to take a look, see how the kidlets look, see how the weather is. No birds have come back since, which was, I thought we'd have a couple, but hey, it is what it is in Rome.
We'll check the weather in the morning when we get up.
Yeah, that's fine. We got all the time in the world.
Okay, so we want to thank everybody for tuning in to this happy hour with Bill Weima. We want to thank Bill Weima again for joining us on this Saturday evening. And if you guys have any, requests of somebody who you'd like to see on the live show, let us know. Or you want to volunteer to come on the show, let us know.
All right.
Anything else?
All right, guys. No, I'm good.
Okay, I'm Leah. That's Ryan. We're from the Pioneer Invitational, and we want to thank you for joining us this evening, and thanks for flying with us.